Remind me to tell you.
Yep.
All right, good evening, everyone. I'm Captain Kenny Mullins, Captain Pat McGriff, and Captain Greg DeVault, and we're here for the fishing report.
We are here.
I think we're here. We finally got through our technical difficulties.
A lot has changed.
A lot in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So that's why we're doing this every 2 weeks. Is October's a transition month. Well, it's going to be transitioning a lot between now and December, into December.
Yeah.
Probably a good bit of change between now and next time.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. That's why we're going to do it every 2 weeks, because we just so much transition going on.
Every time you get those little fronts come through, you're going to get a water change, you're going to get temperature change, wind change, all of it. It's just going to make all the difference in the world.
I'd like a wind change, but we've been
less of it.
We've been having northeasters for 2 weeks.
We have,
yeah,
and it showed today. There was no water.
Boy, I mean, to tell you, we had some northeasters.
Yeah, we didn't have any water today.
No.
And what time did we get off the water, Greg? Probably about 2 o'clock.
Probably about 2, and it was,
and there was still no water.
Yeah, it was coming in, but there wasn't much.
I got on the water about then, and I was shocked at that, but we caught a few fish, but we weren't out there but about 2 hours.
Yeah, and this time of year, from what I've learned up here, is these fish, they want to be on those edges, and really start foraging and everything like that, and moving into the rock and everything. And you get these big tides like that, and if they're not in the canals, they've got nowhere to go. They just got to get pulled out there into into the grass, and they can just spread out and be anywhere. They're not held up on anything out there, because they're not really.
They can't stay in the rocks.
Yeah, they can't stay where they want to be.
Water. They can't get on the rocks and hold, and they can't, like you said, they can't hold the mouths and the points of the mouths.
And what ends up happening, what day was that? What's today?
Today? Thursday.
So
I got one.
Got
one right.
When did I fish? Like Tuesday.
Yeah.
Tuesday. Okay. So my trip Tuesday was the same way. We had no water.
Mm-hmm.
And I pushed way out because I knew the fish would push out with the tide. Problem is when the wind held the tide out, and it was holding. And I made one drift, got in the fish. The tide finally, the current overcame the wind.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just flooded in. And what happened to the fish? They flooded in with it. And I was smart enough to realize what was going on. And I went in further.
The same day you figured it out?
The same day. I actually figured it out the same day. I got lucky.
Yeah, it seems like this time of year you'll find fish, and then as soon as the tide comes up or changes, I mean, they'll go anywhere, because they're really not stuck in one spot or on one pattern right yet.
Yeah. So what I ended up doing is I made it was almost a 600-yard move.
Yeah.
So that I could get ahead of the fish coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was just a steady stream of them coming in. And, we did very well. But it was a long time we really didn't do so well, because those fish were just moving so fast.
Yeah, it's kind of like feast or famine right now. You either make long, make long areas, fish long areas, and don't catch anything, and then all of a sudden they're all in one spot. You can't start catching a bunch of them.
Well, it was so bad this past Saturday. I just got tired of trying to wait on that water and picking up one fish shallow, and I just said, the heck with it, and jumped out to a hump that's got about 7-8 feet around it. It's about 4.5, 5 on top, and we caught the rest of our fish. I think we needed 6 or 7. I think we caught 7 keepers. But the strangest thing was we'd catch a shark, we catch a keeper trout, we catch a shark, we catch a keeper trout. It was slick. It went from blowing 25 knots Saturday morning to slick as this table. And I said, well, I'm not going to catch anything up here in 2 feet of water with it slick like this. Or I didn't expect this crew to. And I salvaged the day by just jumping out to fish that didn't care about the no water. they don't even know about the rocks and the creeks and the redfish. They don't know anything about them. But we did, today, we didn't get a bite until we saw a mullet jump. I saw one jump, and then one more jump, and then his cork went down, and I said, well, look at here. They finally got whatever they wanted to move, but I think it was warmer water coming back to them.
Yeah, Saturday, I did really well. Saturday, we caught most of our trout on the Assassin. What color did I tell you? The little P and V.
The watermelon.
No, it was the
Watermelon slice,
green glass minnow.
Oh,
green glass minnow, yeah.
Green
And then you
glass
flipped over, and then you flipped to
Yeah, so
watermelon slice.
right, but Saturday it was the green glass minnow under a popping cork for the trout. Actually, we caught redfish with it too.
I threw the brown glass minnow the same day without having, and caught two nice ones. Caught our best one.
Then Monday, I couldn't get them to eat the green glass minnow,
mm-hmm.
Right.
and I switched over to the watermelon slice.
I hate
And
that.
from now until probably April, that'll be my go-to.
Yeah. Well, I was telling Kenny earlier when we were out on the airboat, I had, on Sunday, I cleaned probably 5 or 6 trout, and all of them had crabs in their bellies. Fiddler crabs,
Fiddler crab.
big long claws. And we caught them, on Sunday. That was right ahead of that front because we didn't make it in before the front.
You're telling me the trout was so hungry they couldn't find anything better to eat than a fiddler crab?
That's what they had in their bellies.
Have you ever tried fiddler crab?
Tried what?
A fiddler crab.
Eating one?
Skewered.
Hell
Might be
no.
good.
Hell no. And I'm not going to. I've dug a few thousand of those bastards.
But I thought it was kind of strange as I'm cleaning them, because you could feel
That's
the hardness
very
in their
strange.
belly.
That's very strange.
Every one of them.
I've cleaned a lot of trout in 35 years. I've never, ever once found
Yep.
a crab.
They had them, and the redfish didn't. We had 2 redfish we cleaned. The redfish didn't have anything on their
Yeah,
bellies.
the redfish I cleaned, Tuesday and Saturday. We had a couple of shrimp in them.
Yeah.
And everything else had nothing. The trout had nothing.
Yeah, I thought it was really. I mean, we were over. We caught them in tight because that front was coming through, so we were in pretty close. We were trying to catch redfish.
Do you know what a periwinkle
Mhm.
snail is?
Yep.
It's been 30 years ago. I caught a trout. I'm cleaning him, and he's got 6 periwinkle snails shells in his stomach. And I'm thinking, well, that's strange. And I went to the marina and I told Miss Pat Perkins, and her husband was still alive. And he said, "You gonna be here a while, Pat?" And he said, "Yeah." And he said, "I'll be back." He went home and he came back and he had a piece of tinfoil and he had it about like this, and he unwrapped it and there was a stomach, and opened it up and he said, "There's 62 in there." And that particular trout had eaten 62 periwinkle snails. That's not an accident. He didn't accidentally get those when he ran into the grass and knocked them off the stick. He was hunting and gathering.
He learned
And
it.
that is the strangest thing I'd ever pulled out of a trout's mouth until you said the crab.
Yeah, I'd never seen him eat fiddlers.
So
No.
So Travis Andrews says that anything in a shell is delicious. They have shells to protect the good eats. So in 2 weeks, we need you to let us know how fiddler crab tastes.
Next spring, whoever this is, I'll catch him up some spider crabs, and I'll see if he can eat them.
Just the legs.
That shell's protecting that spider crab. I'll see if you can choose however you want to cook them, but
That's the most awful thing in the ocean right there, is spider crab.
Wow.
I hate them things.
Listen, just because he's a crustacean doesn't mean you eat him. It's just kind of like mammals. All mammals are not edible.
We need to.
Somebody's going to write in and say, which ones aren't? Well,
I
I'll let
heard
you
manatee
tell
is delicious.
Yeah. Porpoise. It's all good.
y'all are kidding. I had a customer years ago that was, all I can remember was he was a Gator alumni and he drove a Cadillac. Every year he fished with me, he had a new Cadillac. And he was a big man, barrel chested, wide as both of y'all together. He was that big man. had bad knees, played football for Gators. And we are out there and we snag a turtle. And I get the turtle over there and I finally get the hook out of his shell and he goes, that's number 3. I said, that's the 3rd turtle you hung? And he said, no, that's the 3rd best eating. And I said, what? He said, son, I've eaten everything that flies or swims and I can't say the last word, poops in the water. And this water, he said, I had 11 brothers and sisters. And he said, I had a daddy that would whoop my butt if I didn't bring it home, if I found it dead, whether we ran over it or someone else did. I said, you've eaten seagulls? He said, yes. I said, how do they taste? And he said, kind of like pelicans. And I went, oh, that explains it. I didn't ask any more questions.
He drew the line at cormorants.
He
hopefully.
said, kind of like pelicans. And I went, man,
We're done here.
that was not the answer I was expecting.
That's funny.
But he had eaten all the turtles in the ocean.
So have you guys caught any bigger trout this last 2 weeks?
I have. I was just telling you yesterday, I just went out on my own for a little bit. I had a couple hours burn, and I was actually just wanting to see, because we're getting close to the airboat season, so I was kind of wanting to see what was up in the creeks and everything. And to my surprise, pulled into 2 or 3 creeks, and it was trout on every cast. You know, I didn't stay and wear them out, but I'd make like 8 or 10 casts in each creek, and it was every cast. And I had one, the biggest trout I caught were still near the mouth. If I moved in, they were all 17 to 19 inch trout.
Were you using fiddler crabs for
I
bait?
was using it's a new color. It's a new color.
Sand fleas.
Yeah, sand flea. But
I thought
it's a
maybe
new
fish.
it's a new mangrove crab.
I thought maybe fish bites had branched out.
No.
So
no.
I have caught.
I was
trout
using
on
jigs.
I have caught trout on the crab fish bites.
Oh yeah, I have too. I've caught just about everything on the crab and the
Yeah.
shrimp.
Yeah.
Well, Kenny, you need to tell your big fish story because I need to tell mine first because I just had one today. I lost about 23 incher on Stinky Pink, which is what I've been playing with up here, the candy corn and Stinky Pink. But I lost him. He was I was fishing with a rod. My excuse is I was fishing with a rod that I had a client using the day before, and I think he had helped me out by tightening the drag up. Because when I went to pull on it, I went, well, no wonder he tore off. But it wasn't my regular rod with braid on
You
it.
saying it wasn't your fault?
I'm saying that I had help.
It wasn't completely my
It was
fault.
one of those trout didn't want to come in the boat anyway. He jumped and spun, and he jumped twice. And I can't remember too many that actually leapt out of the water twice. But that big trout was mad at the world. Was
We
mad
had a
at me,
25 that did that.
It's because the fiddler crab was biting him on his tongue.
probably indigestion.
Yeah, we had a 25 that went airborne like a snook. I mean, 4 or 5 times.
No, that big. You think they're snook?
Oh yeah,
That's magnificent to see.
Yeah.
yeah. So this weekend, switched over. I was throwing croaker, shad, and Houdini 5-inch assassins, and we were catching trout. And then I realized I had a partial bag of watermelon slice. And I said, man, this water looks perfect for this. And I put it on, and this is no exaggeration.
Here we go. Feet up.
This is no exaggeration. We caught the first cast with it, caught a 21.
We're going to count them now.
Mhm.
Caught a 21, caught 2 22s, 25, and 24.
That's a nice day.
All on that one slice.
Mhm.
I had to get away from it. Went back to Houdini.
You caught all of them?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, and this is the crazy part.
Couldn't catch keepers.
Even someone that never fished before,
Never in his life.
never in his life fished before from Switzerland, was catching them.
No bad habits.
And then I had to get away from the slice because all we catch was big fish on them.
That was Assassin now. That was
Yes.
Assassin's
Mhm.
5-inch
Watermelon slice.
shed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
It's got all that red glitter in there that attracts those pinfish.
I was using when I was in the creek, I was using a color that was it's not water, it's got a lot of red in it, but I always call it mangrove red.
Watermelon red.
Yeah, watermelon red, mangrove red. Yep.
That's LNS, isn't it?
Yeah, that was
Mirror
Mirror
Lure.
Lure.
Yeah.
That was I was using the Little
Little
John's.
John.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And now we're getting into that time for Little Johns
Mm-hmm.
and little
Yeah.
P&Vs. And
Yeah, I like all that stuff when I'm especially in the mouths of the creeks when you get in the creeks. I always like them baits.
so I had a customer that,
Kenny, you need. Oh, you telling the one about the little.
yeah, that's where I was going.
Good.
I have a customer that comes, he fishes a lot of the Chandelier Islands.
Mm-hmm.
And Jim Rudd said he loves him some watermelon slice. But he's fished with me a time or two. Anyways, this guy fishes the Chandelier Islands quite a bit.
Yeah.
And, over there, they go on these big head boats, and then they go out in the little John boats or dinghies, whatever.
Yeah.
So when he came, his first time coming with me was last April, and the trout were real finicky. And they were kind of in that awkward transition. And he says, well, I have a lure that I make. And it was basically like a crappie jig, curly-tailed grub.
Mm-hmm.
Little bit bigger than a Ned rig, but not much.
Mm-hmm.
And he switched to those back in April and just wore them out. Well, when he got on the boat this past week, he says, how's the bite been? I think it was last Wednesday or something. I said, it's been a little finicky. I said, we're in a transition month. He said, okay, that's all I needed to hear. And he pulled out that little lure, put it under a cord, and wore them out.
Yep. So we used to fish in the airboat. Exude used to make this little bait. It wasn't a saltwater bait. It wasn't anything, and I can't even remember the name of it. I used to just call it the Fleet. It was about that big, looked like a little scorpion or something. But I used to take that thing when the water got real cold, and I've still got a ton of them in bags somewhere. Whenever it would get cold,
I know where somewhere is. I got some somewhere.
yeah, that's why I haven't got them yet. But I'd take and throw them, down in Charlotte Harbor and stuff in the holes out of the airboat. And I mean, you'd throw just regular 3-inch paddle tails or anything like that, and you'd outfish those paddle tails 5-6 fish to one. And I know the same works up here because I've taken the Little Johns and cut them down just as short as I can make them and still make them go on the hook good, and you'll outfish the bigger ones. And I just think they all get, the fish once they're committed to those creeks and creek mouths and everything like that, everything they're eating is that big. They're just eating a lot of little stuff, little sandworms, little crabs, little shrimp, whatever they can find. And that's just what they're looking for. Right now, I think they're still in between, but I think they're transitioning, especially with that water getting colder and the days are getting shorter. They know it's coming. And that wind coming out of the north, they know what's coming. Just like the animals in the woods, they know.
Yeah, that's probably why it's full of fiddler crabs. He got up there to stage and then knew that front was coming and needed to feed on something.
Yep. They could have. I'd never seen it either. I was amazed. I mean, I've cleaned snook before, and the snook just be full of crabs. But I can honestly say I've never
They
cleaned
eat
a
everything
trout.
in sight.
Yeah, I've never cleaned a trout that was full of crabs like that. And it wasn't just one of them. It was,
Yeah, it wasn't an accident.
yeah, it was all
It was deliberate.
all 5 or 6 of them.
Right.
So the next 2 weeks is not going to be good. So maybe we won't have as many boats out on the water.
There was a lot of boats out last few days, but it's been pretty. I mean, that's for sure. But usually when you got football on Saturday and Sunday and hunting season and all that, usually the boat traffic slims down a little.
Right. Saturday surprised me because Georgia was playing at 3:30 and they were still there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And Georgia, they usually don't come down, but it was, I don't know.
Well, I mean, Florida's terrible.
FSU's
Florida State's terrible.
Oh, God.
FSU's worse.
Well, I can honestly say I didn't see many boats on Sunday. I only seen one other boat.
I didn't fish Sunday.
Yeah.
I didn't
Fish
fish
Friday,
Sunday.
Good
Saturday,
reason not to,
skip
believe me.
Sunday.
I
And then
I
Monday.
rescheduled Sunday and Monday.
I mean, the fish bit good, but God, it wasn't a Chamber of Commerce day for sure.
Oh, we struggled.
It was ugly.
Monday we fished for 3.5 hours. We didn't have a trout, and we had like 2 blackfish, and I don't think we'd caught but one short trout. And I'm thinking, I'm not gonna keep doing this. And then we finally got a little water, and I went up there and couldn't catch a redfish where we'd been catching them for 2 weeks, and
They've been moving.
they were not in there, and so I picked up like 5 trout on 5 stops, or 6 or 7 stops. I don't remember how many. And I finally said, I'm going up offshore. The heck with this. And it slicked off. And we caught, I think, 7 keepers in there. Where the strangest thing was, we had a school of bait around us, and he stayed there. And you throw out and catch a shark, catch a trout, catch a shark, catch a keeper trout. I threw Laguna shrimp. I think I caught 3 of the 7 trout on it. And the water gin clear, and it's slick as this table. And it had blown all morning. And that's usually rare that you follow a blow with a bite in slick. Mm-hmm. They usually got what they wanted to eat when it was blowing, and everybody's full.
Yep.
And so that was strange. It doesn't usually happen that way. But
so on
salvaged
Friday,
my day.
On Friday, I was telling you before we started, I was at a good friend of mine, just Mr. Lucky Jody. I was telling Kenny about him. Anyway, we start fishing. We've caught a few fish. It was, it wasn't a super low tide. It was like a 0.2, 0.3 low tide in the morning. So, I was able to get where I wanted to go. And we caught a few fish here and there. But as the tide came up, it just got slower and slower and slower. And the tide, it just never quit coming up. I mean, it was a huge tide on Friday. So we were going to make a move, and I ran out. I was up north. I was up, north of the Econfina, west of the Econfina, whichever direction that is. And as
around the bend.
As I was running out, I seen, there was a little school of glass minnows just getting destroyed. And to me, it looked like jacks and ladyfish and everything like that. But like I said, we'd had a slow day, so I slowed up just to see what they were and cast in there and hook something. And as we're driving by, I see redfish roll in it. And I'm in 8 foot of water. I mean, I'm not that far. I mean, I'm a half mile off the edge.
He's lost.
Yeah, I'm lost. 8 foot. I mean, if it's over my head, I'm lost.
Mm-hmm.
So we stop and we cast, and Jody immediately hooks a big trout out of it. Huh. So I make a cast, and I hook a redfish. And as we're reeling them in, there's 4 or 5 redfish following each of our fish to the boat. Mm. So, I go to put the poles down. Of course, I'm in my little boat, so they're only 6 foot poles. They won't reach. So we get the fish unhooked, and the bait's still up in front of us. It's drifting with us now. And, he casts in it again. He hooks a redfish, and he's reeling it in. And I can see 3 or 4 around that one, and I pitch over to it and hook one of them. So this happens, we get those fish unhooked, and it happens one more time. And, I finally dropped the trolling motor and put it on spot lock to let the bait get away from us a little bit. And, they start blowing up on it, and we do it once more. And while we're unhooking those fish, the bait disappeared, just left. So I was like, all right. And we were in a big patch of rock grass, I call it kelp, whatever you want to call it, rock grass. So I go back upwind of it, and I'm going to drift through. I figure these fish are in this. We drifted that whole, it was 3 acres of it. Drifted that whole patch of grass. Never got a bite. And it was just so odd to me. And I get that they follow the food around, but how many fish were under that little ball of food? Right. Because there was, like I said, the ladyfish, the jacks, the trout, the redfish, and whatever else was in there, foraging on them, big giant pinfish and all that kind of stuff. But
any birds?
No, not the first bird around.
I used to call that Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
We would, jump fishing, and then you never knew what you could have 5, 6 species in the same ball of bait, but the birds would bring you to it. You wouldn't just happen on it.
Yeah, we just said, there was mackerel on them too. Yeah.
No, we saw some birds diving today.
Yeah. Yeah, they were only diving in 2
But
inches
you
of
didn't
water.
have
They were diving out of the way, is what he meant to say.
diving out of the way.
But no, I just that we'd fished. We had beat up the bank all morning and struggled to get some fish, and then here we are half a mile off the bank and 8, 9, and 7, 8 foot of water, and they're all out there.
So Pat wanted me to share a story. Week and a half ago, we were fishing and I power poled down, and we're fishing this one spot and look over and there's redfish everywhere. So we hook up on redfish and all three of us hooked up, and then get those off and more redfish come swimming under the boat. So I'm hooked up. Another guy's hooked up. Redfish swimming under the boat. The third person cane poles it, drops it down under the boat, sets the hook. Literally, 200 redfish swimming right underneath the
You go
boat.
like this.
Yep.
Literally, well, you know how it is in Louisiana.
Yep. It's like Louisiana.
It was just
fishing.
like that. Just dropped it down, bit, and cane poled it.
What is it my buddy Billy Pillow would say? I don't know if we can call that fishing.
No, but it was fun.
It is
Yeah.
fun. Yeah, I've had it happen a couple times here. I had it in the spring. I was literally up on the polling platform on my little boat, and I had 2 guys on the front, and I was just up there because I was videoing stuff, and it was one of those little pockets of an oyster bar, and there was a bunch of redfish in it. And I looked down, and this redfish comes swimming alongside the boat, literally just swimming right up to him. So I yelled. The one guy's like, "Hey, look right to your left," and he looks and he sees it, and he had a little Miradine on, and he literally just went like that. It had like 2 foot of line out, dropped it right in front of him, and the redfish came right up and ate it right next to him. It's just stuff you don't expect to see, and it's really cool.
Folks, this is one's better story than the other. Now, I'd like to hear the next story. How about y'all? The next one ought to be even better. You're going to say that the rod was the lure was hanging and it wasn't touching the water, and the fish came up and got it.
Now-
So
I
I
did.
was.
So there is someone tuning in. Last year, we were fishing wintertime, and we were in a hole, and the redfish were fired up. I said I could catch one of these fish on a bare hook.
Bear hook.
Oh,
And they're
I've done
watching
that.
right now. So
I've done that.
Mhm.
cast out there, bare hook, hooked up.
Well, I had a woman catching a fish, and I had thrown out with a rod, and I took it, and I was trying to get it in, and I'm reeling it real fast like this, and I'm watching her, and all I'm trying to do is get the other rod in, and then I set it down, and I turned around and I looked just in time to look and see what that catfish did in the and I went and caught that while reaching with the net, the other hand, and netted her fish. She said, "You caught one too?" And I said, "Yeah, sort of." I was
I got
holding
him.
the rod, and about a 4-pound red to
Yep.
chase that hook all the way back. And when I set the rod down, it was stationary.
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh, I can get that."
I got
And
you now.
He said, "I got it," but it was actually down in the water.
Yeah.
But anyway, they're a whole lot different than when we were sitting here last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not great every day because they're moving. That's the main thing I want to say. One day you're in one creek and the next day you're in a different.
Mhm.
And it's all about the food.
Yeah.
Like I said, all these stories have been about, we're talking about the food or the absence thereof, because fiddler crabs means that there aren't any swimming minnows where they're eating crabs, but it is different. And it's hard to track on these moon tides.
And this is the time of year I start watching the weather a lot more than I ever do. I normally don't pay attention to, what we've got as far as weather, unless, it's going to be windy, but I will start watching when I hear them say there's going to be a front coming through on Thursday or Friday,
Right.
and I'll start tuning in and watching when that front's actually going to come through. If it's going to come through Thursday morning, Wednesday's probably going to be a pretty good day to fish. If it's going to come in Thursday afternoon, most of Thursday is probably going to be pretty good. You're going to have to deal with some weather a lot of times, and you have to be really safe because, like I said, it got me on Sunday. We had a good bite going just before that front came through, and we made one or 15 casts too many. And, you know, we couldn't get back to the ramp before the rain. But, you know, the reward for the fishing on those days is usually pretty good. You know, vice versa, like what you had on Monday. You know, I fished Sunday and it was good ahead of the front. Monday, the day after, you know, it's beautiful days. You know, bluebird sky, the sky's as blue as your shirt.
Tough shallow.
Are going to be tough.
Right. Yeah. The other thing to touch on is right now the temps dropping down as low as they are at night, and they're dropping that water temp so much. I seen last week I had 11-degree water temp swing in one day.
Yeah.
The later in the day, that's when the bite's turning on.
Yeah.
When you have those days like
when
that.
they get comfortable. Yeah. I always relate that. People always ask me, why does that matter? And I said, well, you go and jump in a cold shower and you know, what does that do? I said, if you get in there before that water gets warm, I said, you're sitting there shivering, not wanting to do anything. As that water warms up, you feel a lot better. I said, it ain't no different for our fish. I said, they're cold. They've been used to mid 70s, upper 70s. And all of a sudden that water is 64, 65 degrees in the morning. You know, they don't want to do much. They want to stay put until that water gets up to 70.
Well, they're cold-blooded creatures, which means they assume the temperature around them. We don't, as mammals, we don't do that, and we still react poorly to the cold, but not nearly as bad as they do, because their entire body and their entire metabolism shuts down, and then has to get reinvigorated in the afternoon or the next day or whatever it takes. But we're not in that real shocking down motion yet. But Kenny and I were talking about this the other day. We caught fish Saturday morning. They were cold. They were warm in the morning. And in the afternoon, the fish we were catching were cold.
Cold to the touch.
And those were different fish. It wasn't
incoming water.
Yeah. And that incoming tide was probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 degrees cooler. And those fish were the fish that we caught later in the day. And they were out deeper, and they were colder. That will really be in effect from Thanksgiving to Christmas.
Oh yeah.
On the flats. As that water temperature changes, you'll have to stay on top of it. And you'll need to learn that your better days are what we just went through this week. 1, 2, 3 o'clock high, so that water falls, and that warmer water in the afternoon will come off the rocks and the mud and the rocky areas and the bars, and it will warm up those fish that are in 2 to 3 feet of water just outside of the big flats that are covered in rocks or bars. That's some of the best fishing you'll get with that unweighted unweighted 5-inch. That's some of the most
watermelon slice.
Well, you'll have. I'll be throwing Stinky Pink while he's throwing watermelon. It took me. I looked an hour one day after you told me that, and I looked.
Let me take care of him.
He's all right. I looked another 2 hours. Hey, and I was resting my hand literally on a bag that the straps had popped on, that I carried plastic with, and that's where the watermelon slice were. So I put some in the boat just to curse it for the rest of the year, just to make sure I don't catch anything on it.
So my plan tomorrow is not to throw watermelon slice.
Okay.
Until you have to.
Until I have to. I have something I want to try.
I found watermelon slice in the little P&V. Have you thrown that one yet?
I have.
Does it work?
It does.
Okay. He was going to keep that a secret.
Mm-hmm.
But tomorrow, I'll tell you what I'm going to start out with. And then,
well, hopefully some water.
Well, water's overrated.
Yeah. Might have to go a ways to find
I'm
it.
going to start off with hammer time.
Okay.
The water's clear. The water's really clear.
It's got a green back and purple glitter. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you a question. You were talking about a color that you never would come off of what it was. Did you ever look that up, or are you going to try to keep that away?
I forgot what it was.
Is that Panhandle Moon what you were talking about? That's brown and it's got green.
No,
green.
this is green with gold glitter.
That's Mississippi Hippie. Oh, he makes watermelon gold.
This wasn't watermelon.
Robbie
This
makes
was like
watermelon.
more of like an emerald green.
I'm telling you, that is the one I told you. That's Glitterbug. Glitterbug has the same back on it, the royal green that Fire Tiger does. You have Fire Tiger?
I'm sure I
Mm-hmm.
don't even know.
I used to
have.
get Robbie to save me the fire. I called it Fire Tiger No Fire.
Oh, yeah.
The ones the machine didn't punch the orange
Mhm.
in. If you take the orange tail off, you could kill the fish with it. But if it had the orange tail, I couldn't.
Never
catch
needed.
I couldn't get a fish to get it.
So I'm glad you said that.
Gotta go to
because
Texas, catch them on the orange tail.
I do
I
do
like orange.
have to share this. Tuesday, we didn't really catch fish good until the pinfish ate the tail all the way off. So this, if you take this 5-inch right here,
Right. I don't tear my
I'm
tail
not
off
gonna
my bait.
tear. These don't work anyways. You need a watermelon slice.
Oh, right. Okay.
Anyways, when it got to right there,
Right.
so when you lost all that tail, when everyone tells me I need a new lure, that's when we were catching fish.
Yep.
Different shape.
Yep.
But the pinfish pecking the tail off helps you catch trout.
Oh yeah.
They'll come over there and get
See what
get
the
it because of
commotion
that.
is.
That's like that. The one color we can't catch fish on now with the chartreuse tail.
Oh,
Chicken on a chain.
You're gonna change.
Chicken on a chain was hot for 3 days, 4
Yeah.
days. It
Yep.
didn't make a week. It made 4 or 5 days, and then all of a sudden the fish went, "Oh no, no, hit that.
That's ugly.
Oh no, hit that." They wouldn't.
that's because I pulled out that watermelon slice.
Mm.
I think it's because you pulled out that and the damn P and V, and then went into your P and V box and
Mhm.
threw watermelon slice before you threw it in the 5-inch. Is what I think. I think that's the trail.
So I do want to talk about I am catching trout from 1.5 feet of water to 4 feet of water. They're still scattered.
Mm.
Oh yeah, that's why I was telling about Saturday when I just said the heck with this shallow water and jumped to 5 feet of water and boom, 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 we caught some pretty fish, including our 18, 19-inch trout.
I seen when you ran out there,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought, what in the world's he doing going there?
Why is he going out
What's he
there?
doing?
Because he was tired of catching one fish every 2 drifts.
Well, last week we were catching a lot of. I mean, I was catching a lot of trout in close.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't hard to catch. As many as you wanted in close and good fish.
That's what he was throwing the green minnow. Green.
And then all of a sudden it was like they just vacated the shore. I don't know if it warmed up a little bit. Ahead of that front, we started getting some of that south wind. I don't know if it just pushed them back out a little bit. But then, like I said, yesterday, I wasn't catching much along the outside, and I just crept into those creeks a little bit. And like I said, if there was any kind of rock on the bottom or on the points, there was trout sitting behind them.
You catching more fish on soft plastic or more on the Miradine?
I was using soft plastic yesterday.
Right now, I'm catching more on soft plastic than
Yeah.
I am.
Now, on Sunday, we caught the trout on soft plastic, and when we throw the Miradines, we'd catch redfish. The redfish were hitting the Miradines better. We caught a couple on soft plastic, but most of the reds were almost every one of them, except for probably 2, were on Miradines.
Why do you think?
I don't know. It could have been the action. The water was, we had a lot of cloud cover, obviously.
Didn't you tell me you caught more reds on plastic back when I met you in October of last year when we were doing the cleanup?
I do personally.
Oh, but your clients can't do that?
You gotta be good to work a jig, man. No, but most of the time,
I just wondered because I know you throw a lot of the little johns.
yeah.
And
and-
that's a certain profile that creeks,
Now,
it's
let me
better.
Yeah, and
He will switch over fast. He will switch
If
over
he's getting
fast.
his butt beat at your saying,
I'm not stupid now.
he's not loyal.
I
to
didn't
the-
say I didn't know how to use it. But
Well-
yeah, it was. I think it's easier for clients, obviously, spoons, Miradines, that kind of bait. It's easier for them to use, especially in a shallow rock situation.
Oh, yeah.
where you're fishing around a rock bed
You're
or an
keeping
oyster
them
bed.
off the bottom.
You're keeping them off the bottom, and you're getting the reaction bites. Where if I'm throwing a jig in there, I can feel the bottom and I can work it through it most of the time, not all the time, most of the time.
Right.
And I'll get the fish that's just kind of sitting there looking, saying, "I'm going to eat that."
Right.
It's
You have a favorite color of your Miradine?
Miradine.
I do.
I become a big
I know
fan
what
of
yours is.
that rose broken glass one. And then there's one that's completely clear and it's just got the mirror.
You're talking about the candy, New Penny?
No.
You said Rose?
Yeah, it's like a rose. It might be New Penny. I don't know the name.
It
of them.
is.
Okay.
Candy apple.
Yeah, it's kind of like a rust
A
color
reddish
almost.
and then gold.
It's a broken glass.
It's got broken glass gold.
Yeah.
I
that
use the clear broken glass gold a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, that one I like. And then there's just a completely clear one that just has a mirrored inside.
The silver.
It's
mirror
all yes.
inside,
I mean
yeah.
it looks like a mirror.
So I use that.
Have you ever thrown the one that I always call it the wrong thing? I think it's called mirror glass.
Which is that's the
long,
clear one?
skinny one in the clear.
I don't think so.
I don't think
You ought to throw that. You ought to try it.
Yeah.
It is no wider than that. The whole lure.
Oh, it's about
It's
the size
3
of
inches
a
long.
yeah. It's about the size of a Myrdine. I've got some of them.
No, the profile is this.
Oh, no. These are more round than the Myrdine.
No, this is
I
not.
don't have
round.
any of those.
You ought to try that in that clear gold.
I'm gonna dig
in
out
that
the old
clear.
Oh yeah, actually I do have some of those. They're called pin they're pin something. I've got a Eric sent me some. I told him some colors and I wanted to see
I
them.
mistakenly called them mirror minnows for about 4 or 5 years, and they're actually called mirror glass
Okay.
by
Yeah, because they imitate
Eric.
glass minnow.
right.
Yep. I do have some of those now that you say
and,
that.
And what I do is I take the hooks. I got number 8 hooks on them, and I take them off and put 6s on them. And otherwise I'll lose fish on that little tiny number 8.
Yep.
Um,
So the problem I have with them is I'm a person, if I don't have confidence in bait, I will not throw it.
you have what?
Confidence. I gotta know when I throw it out there, that fish is gonna eat it. I've got to know that. And for some reason that bait hasn't got my confidence yet.
You throw the 14 at all?
Mhm.
Well, if you throw a 14, you ought to love that mirror. It's heavier. It'll throw better.
Yeah.
You
But
got,
that 17 is the one I really like. The MR17.
oh yeah, but
By far, that one I know I can throw that anywhere and I know it's going to catch fish.
So Tony Paul says catch 2,000. It'd be another another month,
Two
Yeah, a
months.
couple
month
months.
and a half probably, and then my favorite catch 2,000. Well, 2 colors: the
808.
808
Mm-hmm.
and the pinfish. It's got
Yeah.
the purple back.
Mm-hmm. I've been throwing pinfish for 30 years. Pinfish, the reason pinfish is better because it has a pearl belly instead of a white belly.
Yep.
It's like looking at the difference of these 2 colors right here.
Yep.
The pearl looks more like that squash. I guess that's a
glows.
squash. And it has the mother of pearl in it.
Mm-hmm.
And so does his chartreuse, CHPR.
Yep.
And now those are the only 2. He used to have, his redhead used to have a
Mhm.
pearl belly. And I would give you, it's one time I'd give you $50 for one of them.
Yeah,
I caught so many fish on that red of
Yeah.
white.
that's what I say. Probably the most fish I caught is on the old 7 and 11,
Yeah.
red and pearl.
Red and pearl.
Right.
Silver side.
He doesn't make them anymore. He doesn't make the pearl bellies on them. I don't know why. I begged and cried and flounced like a dead chicken on the ground. I mean, like a dying chicken on the ground at the shows, begging him to go back and put pearl bellies on them. And he wouldn't do it. But that mirror lure, I mean, that I call the pinfish one. I call it the kindergarten special because it looks like a child took a crayon and
Scribbled
made it
down the side.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's so stupid looking. And it's
it doesn't
one of
look
the
like a
best-
pinfish.
No.
It's one of the best fish.
It does
Yes.
to something.
Yes, and it looks like it was done with a crayon. And I told those boys at Mirror that at the booth one time, they were ready to fight me. He had just come out with that one that's a mirror image,
Mhm.
perfect
Yeah.
photo finish, photo.
Yeah.
Hey, he said, "What?" Like this, and I said, "No, not that one." I said, "The damn one that looks like a crayon." He says, "What's he talking about, Eric?" He's fixing to kill me, or at least jump over the table. And I said,
We're gonna
"No."
straighten this out.
And I said, "The original pinfish." Oh, he said, okay.
But it works,
Mm-hmm.
no doubt.
Well, so does that one that looks just like a Menhaden. Wow, that one can be unbelievable.
Yeah.
But
the little Yoser,
you're leaving off 14 in a creek. if you give me the tiny trout, number
Mhm.
14, you can have every other one he's got. That's all I want is the little trout. And
I'll throw a jig.
So
no, I mean if you're throwing a number 14.
so here soon, Pat will be throwing the Cotton Cordell Redfin.
Yeah, you worry about
Another
that.
couple cold fronts. That's what it'll take for hell to freeze over, right?
I saw 3 boats today that had a cotton cordell on them. That's what they call them. They don't know the word redfin. They call them cotton cordell.
I'm not gonna lie, they work, but
Hmm?
they do work. But they look like something that should have been in the Kmart blue light special.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling my age here.
Do you know why the redfin is as stupid looking as it is? I do. Because the original redfin was 9 inches long, and it's a striper bait, and it's a wake bait. It's not made to go under. It's a wake bait. You're supposed to keep the shoulders, and we fished them in the Lake Martin and Lake Jordan and other lakes for stripers. You hold the rod up, you put 20-pound test line so it won't go down, or 17. We used to fish Andy 20 and Strim 17, wasn't it? But anyway, Trilene 17. Anyway, you put your rod up and you sing the "We All Live in the Yellow Submarine," and you stop at "Rain, a yellow submarine." Oh yeah, and about the time you get that second or third pause, that
Yeah.
striper just he can't stand it and he blows it out of the water. But it was made not to. It's not the lips. It's not a crankbait. It's a wake bait. And
Right.
now they call them wake baits, and they got everybody builds them. Well, Cordell was making them in the '60s.
Mm-hmm.
But the middle one, the 7 in the solid in the gold chrome. Oh, the big trout that were caught in the 80s and 90s in Keaton on that lure was unbelievable. And nobody threw that little bitty one even then. But now, and gold, silver one, blue. I like the silver blue better than I do the gold. I caught more trout for over the years, but I'm usually pulling it out when it's bluebird sky after the front because it's that kind of lure. You have to throw it out there. There was a man named, you remember who Homer Circle is?
Homer Circle.
He was the outdoor fishing. He was the fishing editor for Field and Stream magazine for about 50 something years. Homer Circles taught you how to throw a bait. You have to hunch up like this because he was always old. He'd throw and he'd wait till all of the rings have subsided. Well, I'm ADHD and I ain't never done that, and I'm not going to. And those people get in my boat and they throw that down redfin and then they light a cigarette and they go, "Well, let me tell you a story." And then all of a sudden the fish hits the lure and I go, "Oh, let me see if I can. I think I can swim to shore from here. Let me jump out and give them this boat because I do not want to do this." Oh, I hate it. I remember one time I had 3 Yankees from Inverness, and it was cold. It was February. The water temperature was 52 in the mornings, warming to 57. And you started cheering when it hit 55. And so we're out there around this stainless steel poles coming out of Ezel Beach. And lo and behold, I had one. I said, "Boys, you got to throw this redfin out there." I said, "Let it hit the water and do whatever you want to do for 10 seconds and then stop and do nothing for a 10 count." And I threw it out there and I twitched like this and I'm talking, and then all of a sudden, boy, he got it on 8. One Yankee caught all 12 of our trout after that we caught. He said, "That one was on 8, Pat. That one was on 9. That one was on 8. That one was on 9. And every other one of them threw it out there and went twitch, twitch, reel, twitch, twitch, reel, twitch, 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 reel, twitch, twitch, reel, twitch, twitch. And I said, "Boys, you can't do that." "I fished this lure down in at Homosassa." And I said, "Yeah, well, you are not in Homosassa." But no kidding. Look at him. He's after it. He wants it again. We're talking about the dog. He's
Yeah.
He's
checking
on
it out.
alert.
So talking about that, it was maybe 3 years ago. I was in a creek mouth, and we were throwing Miradines in the hole, in a trough. And I look over, and the trout were laid up. We were catching reds in the hole. I look over, and the trout are all laid up, and the water was 54 degrees. And they were all, the water wasn't that deep.
Sunning.
They were sunning. And so I told one of the guys in the boat, I said, hey, Cass, there's a big trout right there. And he starts twitch ball. I said, no, stop. Let it hit the bottom. So I'm standing on my seat so that I could see.
Mm-hmm.
And every time it would fall, the fish would go to come up and twitch. And then he'd let it pause and come up and then twitch.
Mm-hmm.
And finally I'm like, stop, don't move it. And it goes down, it sits on the bottom. And then I like slow motion trout just went up there and went.
Yep.
When it gets cold,
They're
you got
slow.
to slow down.
Yep.
Tuesday. Was it Tuesday? Tuesday. Yeah. So we started out, we didn't have much water. And so I put
Kind of the going thing here.
so we
The
were
theme.
throwing the 5-inch Assassins. Well, the VMC hooks. What was the ones I ordered? The big long VMC hooks. What are those called?
I'll tell you later.
Yeah,
Drop dead.
drop dead.
Mm.
And I had an 1/8 ounce on there, but that 1/8 ounce drop dead, the way that it's positioned, the bait falls evenly and flutters.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to work it slower. You're picking it up out of the water.
Mm-hmm.
And I told them, you got to slow down, because they kept picking up out of the water.
Yeah.
But anyways, I put that on there because we had no water. We were over some hard bottom. And I was tired of getting jig heads hooked.
Yep.
But once they slowed down and it just fluttered, it was just bam, bam, bam. And then the water came rushing in and ruined that.
Yeah. And trout especially seem like when they're cold like that and they're just, kind of getting woken up, I guess would be a good way to put it, when they, when their body starts to feel the heat and a little bit starting to stimulate
In
them.
today's world, you better say awakened.
Awaken. True. Good point. But they, they seem like they're very, if you just feed them, they'll eat it. If you try and, there's not much of a reaction for them. They just can't move fast enough, but, they will eat just about every time something gets close enough to them. And, we'll notice, in the wintertime on the airboat, especially, you'll be idling by and you'll look down the hole and you'll see the whole bottom will just be trout laying there. There'll be 50, 75 fish laying in the bottom of a hole, and you spin around.
Is that when y'all use pitchforks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or nets, depending on whether it's rock or sand. But you'll swing around and get lined up on them, and you'll watch the guys cast, and you'll see the ones that are, and the guy just throws it out there and just kind of drags it. So I'm like, just drag it. I don't care if it's snag bottom, just drag it. And the ones that are dragging it, just like working a plastic worm, they'll get hit every time. The guys that keep bouncing along, they'll catch one every now and then.
I don't know how many I have left, but I bought a bag of 500 cheap jig heads for creek fishing because I want them to work them slow. You better be down there on the rock, working it slow. You're going to get hooked up or snagged up. Half the time I'll even tie a leader back on because I know they're going to break it off.
Yeah. I'll tell you the thing I found that works the best is Z-Man makes the Texas eye jig. That works phenomenal for fishing around the rocks. But there's plenty of other companies.
So do the Ned rigs, because the Ned rigs stand up.
They stand up.
You're less likely to
hang the hook.
To hang it.
Yeah.
And if you do, typically it's light enough. You just wait.
You can banjo it
off. You can either banjo it or the current's just going to move.
Yeah. Yeah. But any of those, like those articulating heads where you can actually, bury the hook in the jig itself, so it's not exposed. I know it's a little bit tougher to hook fish that way, but it's you very rarely hook the rocks.
So, kind of going into a time of year where a lot of people is going to start transitioning into using shrimp, and I did use some one day this week, or I had some on the boat. We used some, but it was a complete waste. I mean, they weren't. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't necessary.
Hmm.
It's not necessary this time of year. But
Well, what shrimp does, it gives everybody. I mean, you can go back and you can anchor up and you can still spot fish. And if you throw that cork up there and let it drift by that point, especially this time of year, just about every point and every creek mouth is going to have something on it. Whether it be a redfish, a drum, a sheephead, a trout. There's going to be something sitting on just about any of that hard bottom along any of those creeks. So, you don't have nearly as many pinfish in there because the colder water, keeps them at bay. And, you don't need it. You can sit there and throw a jig or, Myrdine or anything, any kind of bait along those edges and catch fish. You probably will catch more on shrimp because you're going to catch everything that's there.
right.
Where the black drum and the sheephead aren't going to hit the lures. But I mean, it's one of those things. If you're just going out fishing, don't want to wait in line at the bait shop. I mean, this time of year, wintertime especially, you don't, unless it's frigidly cold and you got, bluebird skies. I mean,
Speaking of waiting in line, Saturday morning, my people said they wanted shrimp. So I pull into Wilson's at 6:40.
Wait. Time.
Or I pulled up to Wilson.
I'm going to interrupt you. Have you ever asked your clients what they want? Whether they want you to get some shrimp or not?
No, but they'll tell you.
No, have you?
I can't say I've ever asked that question.
All right.
No,
Go
but when
ahead.
they tell you, I said, okay, I'll get some.
Wait a minute. Did they tell you that? Had they fished with you before?
Yes.
Yes. So you didn't have shrimp before. That's why they wanted some shrimp.
No,
this time.
no, I did. That's the problem. It was wintertime and we were in a creek fishing for sheephead.
Oh, so they wanted you to repeat your magnificent trip from the year before.
Oh, I repeated it.
I'm saying though,
Without the sheephead.
Without the sheephead.
without the sheep's head. Yeah.
So, anyways, I pull up to Wilson's at 6:45 in the morning and could not get in the parking lot. So I left, and I counted from Wilson's to the Keaton Beach boat ramp, 31 boats by 7:15 in the morning.
Did you pass all of them?
Yes,
You passed 31 boats.
31 boats.
But now you were going to the beach or back?
I was going to the beach. They were at the gas stations, and
Oh,
And,
And going to Wilson's.
that,
all right.
there were 7 boats in the parking lot of Wilson's.
Oh, I believe it.
Then I passed the gas station. There were 5 boats there at the Sitco, where the
Not our
Huddle House is.
Oh, okay.
Then there were boats at Pepperheads or whatever it is now,
Right. Right.
the Shell station. Then I said, well, I'll stop and get some shrimp at Jared's. Keaton Beach Bums. Freaking boats everywhere. Guess who didn't have shrimp? Because I said, I am getting to that ramp. I'm getting my boat in the water right now.
Right.
Mhm.
Because all hell's coming
And if the
down.
shrimper's there, I'll get some shrimp from him.
We didn't need them.
Yeah. No, it's just like I said. It's some people it's just confidence bait for them. Yeah. And it's just like when we used to fish down south. You always went out and you netted sardines, and there was a lot of times you just didn't need them.
No.
You used them every day, but there was times where you were catching fish, and I would do it. They'd be sitting there hooked up, and I'd throw a jig or something in, and I'd hook fish right there with them.
Yeah.
But it's just something you did, and people get comfortable using it, and
The days of mixing mackerel and oatmeal, and
oh yeah,
then they came out with the dry chum.
Thank God for Purina.
Yeah, I used a lot of that.
Purina
Fish chow.
tropical
fish chow. Yeah.
They had the chow and the starter,
Mm-hmm.
and the chow was much better. You could drop about what I call half a ping pong ball in every 8 seconds was my interval. 8 seconds, boom, 8 seconds, boom, and in 20 minutes they would be the ballyhoo and the pilchards would be up there.
Yep.
But those days are gone. Been gone from Keaton a while.
Thank God. Don't need no
Yeah,
stinking
it's-
sardines up here.
I found a bag of dry chum mix the other day at my house
Oh yeah.
from fishing Anclote.
I found another dried pinfish in a bag full of plastic.
Oh, that's nice.
Uh,
Mm.
yeah.
Well, at least he was probably so old that he didn't smell anymore.
Hey, I can't smell anything. That's why I end up going home with me.
Well, I can tell you this: I no longer have a cast net.
Yeah, I've still got
I've
it for you.
got three nice ones, and my best one. What's his name? Those guys, they did every Florida Sportsman show. And Calusa,
Oh, Calusa.
and I got a cracker net of theirs too. I got but that Calusa I got is probably 25 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it still outperforms any net I've ever thrown.
Yeah.
Well, since my shoulder surgery, I can't throw a big net anymore. I can't throw a 10 or 12 footer anymore.
I never could. I could throw 8. That's all I can, and I have a hard time about the 10th time.
Well,
I'm good for about 8 casts.
Down there, I'd learned.
I hope I don't have to throw that many times.
Down there, I learned to throw a 10 or 12 so that
Yeah.
you didn't have to make as many throws.
Yeah. It still wears you out. I think
Mm.
the last one I bought, it was a couple years ago. I was still kind of fishing some clients down that way. I bought just a 10-foot bait net from Rachel, and that one, it's still like brand new. I think I've used it 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
I hope that's all it ever gets used.
Yeah.
It worked great, but I just don't want to throw that cast net anymore.
Mm.
It's not even throwing the cast net. It's just you're up early, you're soaking wet.
Soaking wet. Yeah.
You know, the boat's filthy because it's got all kinds of
Oh yeah.
grass and everything else. And it's just,
Right.
yeah.
And then you decide, well, I'll make one more cast,
Mm-hmm.
and you pick up 40 hardhead catfish.
So
that came in with the sun.
I got to interrupt you. We have someone asking, how do we book a trip? And is this time of year something y'all would recommend? This time of the year is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's going to get better and better.
Well, the good thing now is, I mean, I was just talking to a client of mine. I said, from now until May of next year will be good fishing unless we get some kind of strong front. You'll have a couple days here and there where you'll still catch fish, but you'll.
Yeah, you're gonna have your blowout and then behind it. The blowout and behind.
But I mean, it'll be good fishing from now until May of next year.
But the beauty of November, to answer this person on the thing, is you can fish pretty much whatever you want to.
Mm-hmm.
You can use live, cut, synthetic baits under floats. You can use plastic under floats, or you can free line. You can throw a unweighted or weighted jig. Kenny's talking about Ned rigs and etc. And the Texas eye jig is a totally different fishing than the regular jig because of the action of it, and as well as it doesn't get hung up. But you can do the creek fishing or be out on the flats, or like he said, here he is. Were you in the airboat when you hit the 8-foot water business?
No, I was in my little boat.
Okay, he's in his little aluminum boat and runs into fish he's not even looking for in 8 feet of water. I mean, now is the time to go. November is
November,
just
December.
Sweet. November to Christmas, is Thanksgiving to Christmas has always been spectacular.
Yeah.
But you can learn a new method of fishing with us. If you book a trip with us and you have a specific way you want to fish, we can do that for you.
Yep.
But you can learn from us probably another technique, might be better, might be easier for you. A lot of teaching going on this time of year because people say, can you show me how to fish that plug? And I say, yes, I can.
Yep.
A lot of firsts happen this time of year.
Yeah, I
First
had that guy from Switzerland, never fished a day in his life.
Mm-hmm.
Never even cast a rod. I had to show him how to cast.
I asked one of my
He looked
clients,
like a pro by the end of the day.
had he ever fished before?
So
Did he have a rabbit named Swoot?
No.
I had to.
yeah. So if you want to book a trip, you can call me. My phone number is 850-838-6101. RealEpicCharters.com. Pat?
Mine is 850-838-7541. OneMoreCast.net is my website, and love to take you out. Any one of the three of us, you'll have a good trip with, and you'll enjoy it, and you should learn something.
For
Great.
sure. Yeah, my number is 727-919-8666 or capgregd.com.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it's going to get better and better and better.
Yeah, I mean, this is the time that, you know, we wait for. You know, I mean, from October on, I mean, for a couple of reasons. I mean, hunting season's here. I love to hunt, but the fishing just, you know, it just gets crazy good. And there's so many different ways to fish.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
I mean,
my bag that I have added so much plastic on now, I almost can't lift it. And I'm thinking of buying another one so I can split the weight. Literally, it's one of those Bass Pro, you know, saltwater bags. It's unbelievable how much I've put in that thing, and I keep listening to Kenny, and I add some more colors. I just got to quit listening to Kenny, so I'm not adding, you know, a bag, because I'm not going to put one bag of them
No.
there. You know,
you gotta have several.
From now on, you better have some watermelon slice.
and you better have some stinky pink.
I know
If
it's
you
funny.
hadn't-
Is
if
this
will catch fish year round?
you get done at the end of the day now, and you look in the bottom of your boat, and it's just littered with plastic.
Right.
You know, it's you know, through the rest of the year you don't see that, and you get back there. I mean, I literally will take, and because normally I don't ever worry about it, I just wash it all in. It, you know, you get it out at some time, but now, like I said, you're going through so much plastic if you're using it all day that you literally have, you know, 30 or 40
Oh yeah.
Tails.
tails in the bottom of your boat. You got to get out of there so they don't get down your bilge.
Right.
Yeah, and that's and the thing too, what I tell a lot of people, especially I have people that they have their own boats, they fish the area, but they don't fish much.
Mm-mm.
So book a trip every season. You know,
Yeah.
plan at least 4 trips a year because things change. You know.
Yeah. And I have clients literally that, you know, they ask about buying boats, and I always tell her, I'm like, look, I said, if you are going to fish, you know, or you're going to use that boat at least 5 or 6 times a month, it's worth it to have it. If you're not, you know, if you're going to go once or twice a month, just come fishing with a guide. Go fishing with one of us, because it's going to be cheaper. You're going to catch fish. You're not going to have to clean fish. You're not going to have to clean the boat. You're not going to have to pay for any of the
You don't have
insurances
to trailer
or any
the
of that
boat.
stuff.
You don't have to tow the boat. You don't have to
store
have
the
a
boat.
tow vehicle.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a towing vehicle.
Yeah.
And you said you don't have to store it, or you got to drag it.
Yeah.
And hey, we're cheaper than the insurance most of the time. Just payments and insurance. You figure it out over a 5, 6, 7 year plan. You can go fishing with us a lot more than you can go about 10 times a year and actually make money. Put money in the bank for having not bought a boat.
You want to hear something? Take a guess on what my airboat insurance is a year.
I don't have any idea.
Just take a guess.
$2,500.
$5,400 a year.
Mhm.
Why? Because you're chartering out of it?
Yeah.
And
that
because
what
it's an airboat.
Because it's an airboat.
Yeah.
You got to do an awful lot of trips just to break even.
Yep.
You got about 10 trips to break even.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you get bit high money, bigger than that. I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah,
But I
airboats
mean,
are
it's
a little more.
expensive. You
Yeah,
burn
it
more
is.
fuel. Yeah.
Well,
And
But
then
it's a very unique experience.
it is. It's
it'd be unique if I was in one.
You were on
I
one,
got
yeah.
one time.
you out there. Oh, we're gonna get
Sure
you back
did.
out there.
Got out there one
You
time.
liked it.
I made it 70, folks. I made it 70 years without getting an airboat. And last year I got in the airboat with Greg and rode around, and he rode us around, and he rode us around, and he rode us around. And every time we turned, me and the gal that was one of the supervisors were thinking, please let him go in this time. Please let him go in. She told me that later, and I said, well, I was right there with you. We just didn't pray hard enough. But yeah, riding on the front of it is a very unique experience, because the vulnerability of it is like, well, if anything goes wrong, we get it first.
Yeah, but if you jump
At
off,
least
you're just gonna hit
on the
mud.
back of a motorcycle, you know, he dies before you die, or the driver dies before the rider does.
That's why I never build a front steer airboat.
Right.
I always want to be behind the people.
I got it. But it was cold, and I did not have
Mhm.
that day, and I just grabbed something that was wrong. I forgotten, but anyway,
Yeah, it's a different type of fishing, no doubt about it.
well, it's a whole different feeling being on the front of that airboat than it is riding a regular boat,
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
because you don't have the sensation of the boat taking care of you with if it's low in the front. Now, if it has the cooler and stuff up there, you feel a little more secure. But we didn't have a cooler that day.
I got enough deck space. I mean, that's
Yeah, it's
Well, that is another whole experience that a lot of people have a ball doing that, and I don't not say they don't. It's just like a skidoo. They just having the biggest time in the world, and I'd like to kill everyone. And they're having fun with the family on those things. But that's from my bass fishing days. It doesn't really apply to the.
we don't see them up here that often.
Well, even if you
that floating
do,
grass gets them.
even
Yeah.
if you do, they're not going to bother me because I'm not going to be where they are.
Right.
They're going to stay close to the marina area, and I'm not going to generally be there.
No.
But back when I was bass fish, that's where we really hated them.
Oh yeah.
They were just a nuisance. Then they had a game of.
Go a little farther
Of
south, and they're a
messengers.
nuisance. Trust me.
Oh yeah.
Well, they're a nuisance. They were a nuisance in Georgia once it got to be July.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we're going to have some extraordinary fishing. We're going to have all types of rigs. It was just like today. I pulled out several colors, and I tried the cork for probably an hour and threw not a dozen, I threw 10 colors under the cork and finally said, okay, I got to bounce. And, third cast, I had a fish on about 22, 23 inches. Nice trout, jumped, and then got off. Just was not coming in the boat. And, but it's that much fun to figure them out too. I mean, I enjoy pulling the colors out, and it's fun for us as well as fun for our clients because we're experimenting while they're catching fish on color AB. We're trying CDE
Mm-hmm.
for tomorrow because we don't, just don't know what's coming next.
Yeah.
Plus, that's just the fun game of having the different baits is see if you can improve upon what you already having success with. And when you have a good bite, it'll tell you which colors you can put up and not worry about till next spring.
Yeah, and a lot of time, like this time of year, because we are transitioning so much, that there's not a lot of patterns really. So you're, like you said, as much as you're experimenting with colors, you're experimenting with techniques and areas and stuff like that. So, instead of making the same milk run that we make a lot of times when the fish fall into patterns, we do a lot of different things, fish a lot of different ways. So it makes it fun for us too. Like I said, this time of year is just.
It's like this
It's
weekend.
just
I mean,
fun.
we're gonna do some moving this weekend.
Oh yeah.
The wind. So big trout starting to play a
Show
little.
up.
They're starting to play a little.
I think they're coming. I think a lot of them are coming in
They are.
from the deeper water.
So I want to touch on the best days. Your best days for big trout.
When they bite.
You asking or you? Gonna tell?
I'll share my experience with best days for big trout. Is a cloudy, nasty, foggy,
That's exactly what I was
windy.
gonna. Yeah.
When think of it, if you're a duck hunter, think of a day that it would be great duck
Mhm.
hunting. You're gonna catch big trout.
I would agree with you on the windy part, but not on the foggy part, unless you're throwing a plug.
Well,
If
that's
you're
what I'm
throwing-
throwing as a plug.
Okay, if you're throwing top water stick baits or a lip bait like a renegade, or a redfin or whatever, yes. But if you're generally throwing baits and plastic and cork and plastic and stuff, the sunshining is better to me. And I like right at the top of the tide, right when the water gets still, no current at all. That's when I catch more big fish over the years. But again, I don't play that less than a foot of water business. You two both play.
Right.
So, but yeah, the top water is always better when it's overcast because that big trout has a refined sense to feed and feels safe in low light conditions, but that average 16 to 18-inch trout does not have that when he's out in that open gulf. He does not have the confidence to move about in the overcast. And I can catch a fish every time the sun comes out and not get a bite when the sun goes in, and I can do it all day long. If it's coming in and out and playing peep-eye all day, what I call popcorn clouds, every time I take a picture of a client with a pic, the sun's out. And then for 20 minutes, the sun's in, we don't catch fish. And then we catch a fish and I take a picture, the sun's out. And I'll say, y'all remember what was different? And they say, the sun was out when you took my picture. I said, that's right. And so that's the difference. If you're plug fishing, pick those days where the sun's not going to come out all day and go out there and catch fish on every one you got.
Yep.
And I'm with Kenny on that. I love it. I mean, the fog, my favorite time to trout fish is just fog so thick you can't see that wall.
Oh yeah.
I just always have. And if I'm after, especially if I'm after big trout, I want a big old top water. I mean, that's all I will throw it.
Yeah, big baits.
All day.
The
and even
big,
the big XL Miradine
and
is a good lure.
the soft ones, the
Paul Brown's.
Paul Browns.
Yep. Paul
And
Brown.
your soft deans,
Yep.
the big ones.
Yeah. I don't know what it is about Paul Brown, but that
Fat boy.
Fat boy.
Yep. That lure just does not catch small trout. And I don't know why. I've told this story 100 times. Me and a buddy were fishing. We're fishing in a pothole. Same front of the boat. I'm throwing a jig and I'm catching a fish on every cast. I mean, every cast. Now they're 17, 18. I might get one over 20. He's catching maybe 1 to my 8, but every one he catches is damn 22, 24-inch trout. And he was throwing one of those fat boys.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know what it is. They just, every time I've seen them use, and I don't like using them because they don't look, they got horrible
They have no action.
Got
None.
horrible action. Maybe that's why they catch big trout.
The devil is my favorite.
Yeah.
The
And
devil.
see, that's one I have no confidence in.
I'm saying I don't have confidence in the Paul Browns. I have a hard time throwing them.
But they work.
I'll let clients throw them, but like I said, I have a hard time.
But
throwing them.
if you ever have a good day on that devil,
Oh, I have. I just,
you will not throw it, because I've seen it where my buddy was throwing it. I threw 17 lures, didn't get a bite, not a bite. He caught a fish on every cast throughout that period, and I didn't make one cast with 17 lures. I
Right.
made 3.
you must be talking
So-
about Billy.
Yeah, 51. That's 51 to nothing. That's pretty convincing. And David Malone's in the front of the boat doing about half what Billy was doing. He was getting one about every other cast. But the point is that when they want that, there are times they want it, they won't hit anything else.
Yeah.
Especially if you get up there in less than 2 feet of water. It's remarkable. Now, I like that lure better in 2 to 3 feet than I do a foot or two of water, which I've tried it. But I've caught them on the original.
Yeah.
I've caught them on that original, which is really stupid, no action.
Yes,
Okay.
I agree.
I mean,
I agree.
but Texas will tell you, that's why Eric made the Catch 2000 was to make
Imitate
a lure
the corky.
The corky, right. I'm glad you remembered that.
And the Catch 2000, you'll catch big trout.
Yeah. Yep.
You will.
And it doesn't have a lot of action.
No.
Oh, it's known for none.
Yeah.
But it's whatever it is supposed to be when it's on, nothing else is that.
And the one thing I've learned with big trout, and I'm sure you guys notice too, but they're like your small trout, like anything under from like 22 down will school up. Those big trout are more like
They're loners.
redfish.
They're like
they're
redfish.
loners.
Yeah.
You'll just very rarely do you see more than one of them in an area.
Now, I will say this. My biggest trout, those 30 inchers, typically I'm seeing a lot of small trout
Around them,
around them. And I believe, I may be wrong, I believe they're feeding on them.
probably. Yeah. I've had trout hit other trout, especially in the wintertime when you hook those little 8, 9 inchers. Bigger ones.
And that's what I'm talking about.
Hit at them.
When I see those,
Mm-hmm.
I'm pinning down, I'm working that area.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're at a good. Let me see if we have any comments I missed.
There'd be somebody on there with something smart to say.
So Matt Stewart said, went out last Saturday morning, was able to muster up 6 keeper trout in 4.5 to 6.5 foot of water. Went up shallow after the tide came in, but was unable to run across any reds. Reds are moving.
Yeah.
They are moving.
Yeah. I mean, you'll catch them one
Here
day.
today, gone tomorrow.
Yeah, they
Absolutely.
are definitely moving around.
Then he said most of his fish this past Saturday came on 5-inch Z-Man jerk shads rigged on the Texas side jig head.
Mhm.
Yep. So give a shout out to Wilson's Bait and Tackle. You know, they always take care of us.
Yeah.
Anything we need.
Yep.
Same thing with Jared at Keaton Beach Bums. You know, if you guys have an RV, you need a place to stay, check out Camp Keaton. There's other campgrounds. I'm just, you know,
They're good people.
yeah, I know Camp Keaton. I've spent a lot of time there. They're friends of mine. Keaton Beach Vacation Rentals, Stephanie, you know, check out her trading post. Stephanie has always been good to us over the years. You know, and I've never had a customer complain about staying there.
Staying there, yeah.
So we will be back in 2 weeks because everything is transitioning.
What day is that?
2 weeks.
2 weeks, Pat.
Yeah, and
2
what
weeks.
date is that? I don't want to do the math. I just want you to do it for
All
me.
right, so let me look.
We'll put a little reminder on your phone.
That will be November 6th.
6th.
You may not be here.
No, I'm getting back on the 6th, so I should be here.
Oh,
Hunting.
I may not be.
Well, that would
To be
break it up.
determined.
That would break it up then.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we might have to do
Even if we do it remote,
Okay.
I'll send a link and you can set up your phone for you and Pat.
Yeah.
And
Well, I'll be on the road, so I can definitely do it. I'll be close on the 6th.
we'll figure it out.
So I'm leaving Kentucky in the morning, so I should be back here.
Who knows? We may need to do it next week. We'll see how this week goes. We may need to do it next week, depending on how everything transitions.
The fishing will be so good.
But
It is going to be good.
until then, good luck. Probably don't want to be on the water this week. It's going to be nasty.
Yeah, don't go on the weekend.
No. All right. We appreciate you.